Hello, Virgo, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of September 21st through the 27th. And during that time, we will have a new moon that comes in on the 22nd. And of course, that's a good time for a fresh start, new beginnings, a good time to start new projects or, new work that you have coming up or and have, make new decisions about things. We then move into the waxing crescent energy. And that's a time of heightened senses, a good time to buckle down and get to work on those things that you've just started. A good time for, also just planning and just kind of managing your time well to kind of live up to your expectations and things that you're wanting to accomplish in this cycle. So please keep those moon energies in mind as we're moving through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Virgo. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this reading: step out of your comfort zone. All right, let's see what the Virgo Collective is up to this week. As I'm shuffling, Virgo, I would like to say that since my readings are free to you, all that I ask in return is that you hit that subscribe button right down there. And it just really helps my channel as a new YouTuber. I really appreciate that. And it's also super easy for you to do. So I'll give you a minute to do that right now as I'm shuffling. Thank you so much. And if you've been a subscriber, thank you for coming back and helping me build a community here. I really do appreciate that of you. So thank you so much. All right, without further ado, let's get right into this reading. September 21st through 27th for Virgo. Step out of your comfort zone. Okay, there we go. Present energy, Virgo. 3 of Cups. And I feel like somebody else had that also, starting off their energy with a little bit of celebration. So it could be that you're coming out of something, you've just had an accomplishment and you're celebrating for some reason. And I love that. That's great. Keep up that good energy and stay in that celebratory zone there. Your current situation is the King of Wands. So you're in an area where you're really learning a lot about something that you just feel you're so passionate about, and you've taken the time to just really become a ruler of that passion. You've taken the time and energy to put time into learning, and not only, so you have your own understanding of things, but you're also, you're able to take on a leadership role and kind of see the people around you and what's really lighting their fire, as it comes to this passion as well. So you're just able to kind of read the room very well when it comes to that. At the root of your situation is the Six of Pentacles. So, I always ask when I'm reading cards for people to for you to look at this card and tell me what's going on in this card. And I'll give you a second for you to just examine that and think about that. What is happening in this card? And because some people will say this person is giving to these people, and some people say these people are receiving from this person. And so it's kind of, your first inkling of what's happening in that card is kind of where you are right now. So you could be in a giving time or you could be in a receiving time. And of course, this can be monetary because we're talking about pentacles, but sometimes it all could, can also be, emotional. It could be, just someone who's giving you support, or someone, when you need it, or that you're taking someone's support when you need it, in like the emotional realm or just life in general, someone who's there to be there for you. So think about where you are there. That's kind of the root of your situation right now. What is just behind you is the Queen of Pentacles. So, a couple of royalty cards coming up here, which shows me that you're just in a place, and when it's Pentacles, you're coming out of a place here, and you have the energy of just a real good understanding of the material and the financial world. And that could also play into whatever this passion thing is for you. So for some of you, you may be in like a financially giving area right now where you're able to help someone else in need. And that's great. And you're celebrating that with this 3 of Cups here, hanging out with friends, partying. It's like you're just in a good space right now, and you feel like celebrating, which is awesome. What's on your mind this week would be the 9 of Wands. So you are kind of looking back on your past. And you know that we kind of do that around the new moon anyway, as we're making decisions on how to move forward into the next cycle and what things to change. And it's a good time right now to be reflective. You know, we're coming out of that out of a time when you would normally do that. So that doesn't surprise me to be reflective there and think about what you do want to do differently here in this next cycle. You know, you might want to make some minor adjustments and things as you set off on a new path for the new moon on your fresh start. So that's kind of on your mind this week, is kind of looking back and thinking, what adjustments do I need to make? And one of those adjustments might be to step out of your comfort zone. So if you're somewhere where you do feel really comfortable and you're examining those things from the past and thinking, okay, things are going great and that's good, but I would like them to go even better. So let's examine, you know, my past cycle or two or three, you know, what's been going on the last few months, even the last 6 months, and what do I want to change about those things? And then once you evaluate that, you can set off to, you know, implement that change on the new moon this time around. What is just ahead of you is the Page of Cups. So definitely keeping your sense of humor. You know, this could also be, you know, pages or messengers sometimes of new emotional things and just new paths, right? It's an indicator of something new for you. So there could be something new for you in the emotional realm, and maybe that's also stepping out of your comfort zone a bit. You know, it could be that you know, open up to one of these friends that you're hanging out, and you know, maybe you're get a little closer to a friend that's kind of been on the periphery, but you just find a new connection there, and then the connection could be via humor as well. So you know, so just as you're interacting with people, make sure you're kind of keeping your eyes open for that person that makes you laugh, because we all need that in our lives, right? In your advice position is the Hanged Man. So definitely take time for a new perspective. And this to me goes also with this Nine of Wands, that you're going to be looking back on your path to kind of see how you want to make adjustments in your future. And that does take you know, not only stepping out of your comfort zone, which is definitely, I'm sure this hangman would relate with that message of stepping out, but also kind of looking back on your past and just doing that evaluation, which also it just makes you look at things from a new perspective. So keep that in mind. That is your advice, and that appears to be what you're doing right now. So that's pretty awesome. What is beyond your control is the Queen of Wands. So not only are you in this knowledgeable area about something that you feel really passionately about and something that really drives you, but you're also in this understanding. So you have like both the masculine and the feminine understanding and balance of that, which is awesome. You know, the queens are about, you know, really embodying that thing, but really, you know, having kind of more of an emotional understanding and grasp, where the king is more, you know, about the mechanics, you know. So you've definitely got that masculine, feminine thing about something that you're really passionate about or engaged with, something that really lights your fire, and you're engaged so much that you're evaluating it as well. So lots of wands on the table for you. Let's see. What is your secret desire, or what you're trying to avoid? Would be the Two of Swords. And so maybe, you know, maybe you are kind of in an evaluation time right now and you don't want to make any big decisions. And that's fine. I would let that, you know, let that go. And that new, you know, that new moon energy, it comes in on the 22nd, but it kind of lasts for a few days there. And if you, you know, you may not want to rock the boat. You may look back and say, okay, everything is going great. I'm going to make a very small adjustment, you know, something about looking at things from a new perspective or stepping out of your comfort zone, but it may not be a huge change or a huge decision. It may just be some little slight adjustment that you're making there. In your outcome position is the Six of Pentacles. So, or I'm sorry, the Five of Pentacles, because I was looking at the six here. So the root of your situation was about giving and receiving, and we've got you here kind of feeling like an outsider with the five. So you know, and here's what happens if you switch these around. The five, this usually these are switched and it leads to this, but in your situation, that is reversed, where the giving kind of makes you feel like an outsider. So you need to examine that. That's kind of a big question for you this week, and that might be leading to whatever this indecision is. But in what area, and is it, you know, financial or material that you kind of feel like an outsider? You know, and is it brought on, is it something to do with giving or with receiving? We all kind of fall into the area where sometimes we're in a time where we can be more giving, and sometimes we're in an area where we need to be more receiving and accepting of that. It's okay to be in that area, but something is making you feel a little bit like an outsider. And are you doing some sort of, comparison somewhere? So you need to examine and ask yourself, what about your current situation? And again, it's something that you're very passionate about. So, um, interesting here. And is it related somehow to getting together with friends? Are you comparing yourself to someone else? I wouldn't be shocked because, Virgos tend to be very perfectionistic. And just remember, comparison is the thief of joy. If that's what's making you feel like an outsider, don't let that happen to yourself. What is hidden from you this week is the Knight of Pentacles. So action on the way of the material world or the financial world. So, and this could be coming from this indecision here. So, Virgo, your big question, it's not really even apparent to me in your card reading right here, is in what area do you need to step out of your comfort zone? And is it, I, I'm going to go back here that we started off here kind of hanging out. Things are going good. You're hanging out with some friends, and someone in there, you're moving forward with kind of laughter and lightness and a sense of humor, but you're also like there's a part of you that's kind of looking back too. Like you are enjoying the moment, but you're definitely kind of looking back and thinking of things that you want to change. And what is that for you? And this, it's not even really showing me a specific area of your life, and it could be different for different Virgos. Of course, tarot is a template, and this could template over, for some of you, this could be about a relationship or a friendship. For some of you, this could be about a job that you're very passionate about or a project that you're involved with. It's something, but it's something that really you've taken the time to learn a lot about. And again, have that good masculine and feminine balance over, being very knowledgeable about something, but also very understanding about it. So, again, that could template over any situation. I'd be real curious to know what that might be for you. So if you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below and let me know. But something is leaving you feeling like an outsider. So are you comparing yourself to someone or something else or the situation? And if you are, you need to really consider why you're doing that. Look at the big lesson so that you don't end up at the end of the next cycle kind of in the same mental space. You want to move on and grow from that. So make sure that you do some self-examination there when it comes to feeling like an outsider and why. And if that's the new perspective that you have and you need to make those changes, then just go ahead and make those adjustments. So, all right, let's see what the Soul Oracle deck says for Virgo, September 21 through 27. Accept what is. And if that means just accepting how you are, that's how you are. Sometimes we just have to go, okay, that's how I am. And that's okay, right? Let's see what you need to be doing in the way of self-care. Self-care for Virgo while they're going through whatever this is. Kind of feeling like an outsider. What does Virgo need to do this week? Okay, the card is called Ease. I've never seen this, but I do. I love this card. I have a swing in my backyard, and I love to swing on my swing. Today, I allow life to be easy. Oh, well, look at that. I love that. Get on your swing, Virgo. Relax. You're hanging out with friends, and it seems like you're in a really good space here, but you are kind of looking back on something from your past. It's making you feel a little bit like an outsider, and maybe sometimes step out of your comfort zone, relax. Don't be so self-critical of yourself. Accept what is, and that might be just accepting that you are who you are, and that's fine. And then, ease, relax. Today I allow for life to be easy. It doesn't have to be a big bad struggle every single day. Sometimes you can just relax and laugh a little bit. Virgo, I really appreciate your time here with me today. I hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use. Of course, again, if you're comfortable sharing, drop me a comment down below. Let me know, what kind of struggles you're going through with something that you're very passionate about and feeling like an outsider. You guys might be able to compare notes in the comments and have things in common and learn from each other. So, not a bad idea there. Also, once again, if you like my reading style, if you hit that like and subscribe button, it really helps my channel. But more importantly, Virgo, it'll help you find me next week where we can come back and look at things again, see if this energy stays or if there's something completely new here for you next time. So, thanks so much again for joining me, and we'll see you next time, Virgo. Bye bye.